After 4 years of high expectations and near misses, the Florida Gators overcame a disastrous opening rotation on the balance beam to storm back and win the 2013 NCAA title, becoming just the 5th program in 32 years of the national championships to stand atop the podium. Tonight, the reigning SEC and NCAA champs visit the explosive up-and-coming Auburn Tigers as these two exciting teams open their SEC season on ESPN. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Welcome to the Auburn Arena for tonight's gymnastics matchup featuring the 4th-ranked Florida Gators and the 18th-ranked Auburn Tigers. Hi everybody, my name is Bart Connor and I'm proud as always to be working alongside my fellow Olympic medalist Kathy Johnson-Clark, and tonight is a great one. We have the University of Florida, the reigning SEC and NCAA champs, and of course last year they graduated 4 superstars, but they have returning 4 athletes who have won a total of 26 All-America honors, yet they don't even have the depth that they had in the past.
May I first say that was an incredible win for Florida last year, and not just good for their team, but for collegiate gymnastics. It kicked the door wide open for all the teams to believe and dream that they could win a national championship. Now, Florida has a core group of great, talented, accomplished gymnasts that they could win again. The tricky part, though, is managing the health of those athletes. They're a little bit fragile, so they'll need to rest them throughout the season and build toward the end, but they can do it.
We talked to Coach Rhonda Fain about just how important that win was to her and her teammates last year.
When we won, I mean, it was just so surreal because, you know, it's something we had as a goal every single year, but for so many years up to that point. And so, I don't know, I just remember the confetti falling, and it was just like a huge, the biggest birthday party in the world you can imagine as a child. And so, but even through the next few hours after the competition was over, I was still trying to absorb it. And I'm like, we did it. We finally did it.
Now, I can assure you for the Auburn Tigers that this meet has been circled on their calendar for more than a year. We were very impressed with this young and explosive team last year, weren't we?
This is a fantastic opportunity for Auburn, really a no-lose situation for them. They got everybody's attention last year, throwing all the difficulty they could to make that statement. Now they need to refine and get the finesse in those routines and maximize their score potential and minimize the deductions. That's something they can do, and I'm most interested in seeing how they handle the adrenaline, the excitement in this gym going up against the defending national championship SEC rival Florida. And we were in the locker room to hear Coach Jeff Graba give them their pregame speech.
We talked about grit, we talked about determination, we talked about our expectations are to stay in the bubble tonight. Our expectations are to be focused, to be energized, to think about us, to focus on us. These fans are here for you. You need to soak up their energy. If there's nerves there, accept it and use it, okay? We trained all year to be ordinary. Our stuff looks ordinary to each other, right? It looks like every other day, it's just practice. But to everybody out there, it's not ordinary, it's special.
Expecting over 6,000 people in attendance tonight, including a very enthusiastic student section. The Auburn Tigers host the defending NCAA champs, the Florida Gators, tonight. Don't go away. Great gymnastics coming up. Welcome back to Auburn, Alabama. Dual meet competition tonight featuring Auburn and Florida. Dual meet competition. The athletes will compete on all 4 events, the vault, bars, beam, and floor. 6 gymnasts per event per team, with the top 5 scores counting towards the team total on each event. First up for the Auburn Tigers is the junior Brittany Webster out of Lee's Summit, Missouri. Gritty performer.
This can be a very good event for Auburn. A great way to start with all the adrenaline they must have. Yurchenko fell a little bit low and had to pipe down some on the landing, but a good start.
First up for the University of Florida is Bianca Dancos Giambattisto, the 11-time Canadian national team member for Montreal.
And Bart, I could tell it's early in the season just by watching 30-second warm-up just prior to competing. Things aren't perfectly sharp at this point, but you don't want them to be. You really have to pace yourself. Bianca shows great lines, nice, long, beautiful lines on this event. Little leg separation on the double layout, but a good, strong start for Florida.
She's a sophomore. She's known to be quite a good team player. Very positive attitude, but she's been dealing with a foot injury that has limited some of her work on the leg events.
Very nice work here on the bars. Notice the leg separation on the second somersault, but she spots that landing so nicely and brings it in for a good landing.
Up now, Kait Kluz from Auburn. Brittany Webster had a 9.725. Kluz is a sophomore.
They have potentially very difficult vaults in store for later in the season. That was a Yurchenko full twist. We'll see that vault over and over in collegiate gymnastics. Some of them are capable of a 1.5 twist. She is a little bit low on the pre-flight. Didn't quite get a huge block off the table. It was a good, clean vault.
Keitra Hunter, the junior from the University of Florida, 41 career event titles, and boy, she had a standout freshman year that culminated, of course, in her all-around championship at the NCAAs as a freshman. She is a 13-time All-American, and she's just a junior.
And a very good all-around gymnast. She doesn't really have a weakness anywhere. Nice big release move to open the routine. Great handstand right on top of the bar. Excellent position. See if she can finish this routine strong. It's a double back with a full twist. Nice spot on the landing, a little bit of a hop on the landing, but again, early in the season, this is the second competition for both these teams. Little knee bend on there. And that tap just as she goes through the giant, but this was nice. Lovely technique. Took it out just a little too far to really nail the landing.
Lexus Demers now, the redshirt sophomore for Auburn.
Boy, she is a gamer. They said when she gets out on the floor in competition, she really is a showboat and likes to show off her gymnastics.
The two scores for Auburn so far, 9.725 and a 9.8. Kait Kluz had the 9.8.
Went hard for that landing, could have gotten a little bit more height off the table, but she's happy with it.
Next on bars for
Bridget Coquado, they call her Bridgie. She's up now. Keitra Hunter had a 9.775.
She has really recovered so well from the injury she was dealing with after transitioning from elite gymnastics to college. She actually won this event in the first competition out of the third spot. Something to be said about that. She's going hard for these handstands. Good solid routine, beautiful dismount. Nice laid out position and a good landing.
We talked about the lack of depth there at Florida. They're going to need her. Last year she missed much of the season because of injury. She came up with a clutch floor exercise routine at the NCAAs.
Look how tightly she squeezes the legs together, trying to give away no tenth of a point.
Bri Guy will be up. Lexus Demers had a 9.825.
Wow, what a vault. Even in warm-up, she had probably the most dynamic vault, certainly of the Auburn team. A lot of speed into the table. Nice block up, tight legs, and boy, you can't beat that landing.
We mentioned Keitra Hunter's freshman year. How about Bridget Sloan? She is the only gymnast in history to win an Olympic medal, a world championship, and an NCAA championship. What a trophy case this young lady has, and she's just a sophomore.
She is dynamite. I love interviewing Bridget. She's got so much to say about all aspects of gymnastics. Ooh, a little bit of flex feet on that release move. Nice and high, though. Those are the kinds of things you'll iron out throughout the course of the season. That and a little bit of leg crossing, but big skills, nice amplitude. That's the best part of her gymnastics. Really Great technique, good amplitude, huge dismount, and nails the landing this weekend.
Score, by the way, for her teammate before her, Bri Guy, had a 9-7.
This will be a big score. They'll have to deduct for those flex feet right there. But a nice, huge double layout. And last week she did not stick this landing, but look at there. That'll make her happy.
Back to the vault now. MJ Rott will be up now. Bri Guy had a 9.95. Oh,
That is it. Vault. She can go back. She can repeat the vault. She didn't touch the table or the springboard.
wow, I wonder what happened there. Sometimes you get your steps off.
She knew halfway down the runway, nope, not gonna happen. It's best to pull up.
She does a huge dynamic vault. She's just a freshman out of Stillwater, Minnesota. She's extremely powerful, and they have high expectations for her career here at Auburn.
And according to the coaches, very, very intense. And normally on this event, extremely explosive. She has a huge vault. In fact, they refer to her as Murder She Wrote because she just kills this vault. So hopefully with the second shot down the runway, we're going to see the vault that she typically performs. Chenko full, huge amplitude. Look at the distance.
Wow.
Look how far out she took that vault. This is toughness, mental toughness. She didn't let it throw her at all. Slightly off to the side. That'll be a very slight deduction. But nice balance to this vault between pre-flight and after flight. And what a relief. Even a smile from a very intense gymnast.
Back to the bars now. Mackenzie Kakwato. Bridget Sloan tied her season high for 9.925.
And I love watching this athlete on this event. Very clean, beautiful amplitude. Even her transition moves are so exquisitely done. Clean gymnastics throughout, and a great landing.
It was this weekend, exactly a year ago, that she scored a perfect 10 on the uneven bars and got national acclaim for that. 4 years member of the U.S. national elite team.
Well, superb technique throughout. And she just glues her feet to the mat there, refusing to step back.
This could be a highlight. Caitlin Atkinson up now, the sophomore. MJ Rott had a career high 9.9.
Bart, I love this vault. Technically, it's so well done. It's a 1.5 twist. Most difficult vault we'll see in the competition, one each from both Florida and Auburn. Oh, almost got the landing. She usually has a very uncanny way of finding that landing. It's nice to see a straight body throughout the entire vault, even into the landing.
Elena Johnson. Can't believe she's a senior already. Seemed like we just welcomed her to the NCAA as a young freshman at Florida. She'll be up on the bars as their anchor performer. 10-time All-American.
What a tremendous comeback for her last season. Missed 8 of the meets throughout the season. It really looked doubtful that she was going to get back in time for the postseason. And not only did she get back, she performed so well and was so integral a part of that championship team. And then, of course, won this event in the event finals with just exquisite form, beautiful technique, nice difficulty, really the whole package.
Mako Kakwato had a 9.875 before her.
I love how she stretches everything out. Loves the Stalder work. That's back in. A little hard with the back problems last year, but she's doing it beautifully. See if she can stick this landing. A little sloppy on the double layout. Not quite pointed toes. Had to pike down a little bit and didn't quite get the stick.
All right, that completes the first of 4 rotations here at Auburn. The Tigers off to a terrific start on the vault. We'll update you with the scores when we come back. Welcome back to Auburn, Alabama. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Let's take a look at the standings after the first rotation. Auburn spectacular on the vault. In fact, 1/10 of a point behind their career best on the event, 49-4 for the Tigers. Florida, a 49-1 in their opening event on the bars. So the Auburn Tigers have a 3/10 of a point lead after one rotation over the reigning NCAA champs. In this rotation, Florida moves to the vault and Auburn moves to bars. Brittany Webster had a 9-7 in the first rotation for them. Bars. She's just a sophomore. Of course, she is the younger sister of Mako Webster. Hoping to contribute more this year. She had a number of injuries that kind of held her back, but she was finally able to train over this summer and really get in some of the best condition she's ever been in.
Absolutely, she trained so well over the summer to prepare for this season. And Rhonda says she's so calm in competition, which is just a great thing to add to your roster. Look at the landing. What a way to start. That's something that a team can really build on.
Last week against UCLA was her first time vaulting in 3 years.
Wow. Excellent job. Her head was about the level of the table. Of course, we can see bigger vaults, but that's a nice start.
Kullen Hlawek, the freshman out of Fulshire, Texas, will be first up for Auburn on the bars. Coach Graves said she's extremely smart. She's a brainiac.
Brainiac, I love that. And everything's a math problem to her. Very analytical. And on these technical events, this is where we want to see what Coach Grable was asking of his athletes to be ordinary. That means be normal. Do what you do in practice. You train, you want to get out there, stay in your bubble, do exactly the way you do in practice, and it will be special. Very nicely done. Pulled her head forward on the last part of the dismount, so she had to take that step forward.
You see assistant coach Kurt Henninger, who is responsible for bars as well as recruiting for Auburn, standing in on the spot there. Back to the vault now for Florida. Brittany Webster opened up with a 9-8. Rachel Spicer now.
Nice vault, big hop on the landing. They're gonna have to take that deduction. It's really nice to see her more in the lineup. She has so much potential, even in the all-around, according to Coach Fain. So she's going to be an important part of this team. Of course, we've got that core group of great athletes on the Florida team, but you really want to fill in those positions. To find a leadoff in every single event is so critical to a team's success.
Coach Fain calls the top 5 athletes on her program the Power 5, but they're going to need more than that if they're going to sustain this the entire season and be contenders at the end of the road. Kullen Hlawek, a 9-7 in their leadoff performance. Kait Kluz up now.
Kait led off on this event all last year, so a lot of experience. A little knee bend as she went into that reverse hack. Nice handstand there, though. Really showing that vertical position. You can see the little things that they'll want to really clean up as the season progresses. You want to see really pointed toes, of course stuck landings, tight knees.
I thought it was interesting that Coach Graves said she is actually the most pleasant person I have ever coached. It's a nice compliment. She's been working hard on cleaning up her execution.
Yes, they all have. This is something that will take them up to that next level in terms of placing.
Mako Webster now on vault for Florida.
Nice to see her back in the lineup on this event. Look at her open up after the twist, spot the landing.
Score, by the way, for Rachel Spicer, their second vaulter was a 9.825.
When you think of her hurting both ankles simultaneously, not that long ago, for her to be back in the lineup on these leg events and taking landings like that, it's really great to see. But as we've remarked, this is something that they will have to balance throughout a very long season to protect those ankles rest some of the athletes at certain competitions. When a good landing hurts, right? I knew that's what you're thinking.
You're not kidding. And Coach Vane said, you know, she is as healthy as she can ever be right now. She's coming back from back-to-back knee and shoulder surgeries. Back over to Bri Guy now. Kait Kluz from Auburn had a 9.725. So their scores for bars already 9.7 and 9.725.
Pretty good form so far. Seeing just tiny little bit of feet separations and tuck double back dismount. See, that's something you'll take out at the end of the season. You're not going to see that step back. You're going to fight for those landings. Nice pirouette, a little bit past vertical. She'll want to get that right on top of the ball. Pull that double tuck around a little bit too far and have to over-rotate some.
Elena Johnson will be up next. By the way, Mackenzie Capuado, that 9.925 for her is a career high.
Now, Elena is capable of doing a very pretty vault. A little bit of a pike throughout that vault, really piked in on the landing. She knows it.
Looked like she came in a little high on the pre-flight, didn't she?
Yeah, just a little bit off. You're right, very high. She was almost up on her fingers. Couldn't quite get that block way up. She pulled it around. Notice her head was really lower than the level of the table and then piked into the landing.
She's a very balanced all-around gymnast, a competitor in the Olympic trials back in 2008, but she's been a little bit fragile, no question about it. Kelsey Kopec, freshman out of Alpharetta, Georgia, next up on the bars, 5 feet 7 inches tall. Bri Guy, by the way, at 9.75. So all the scores for Auburn solid in that 9.7 range, but no one's broken into the 9.8s yet.
Solid routine, gorgeous dismount. That's a beautiful double layout. Really straight body and an excellent landing. Definitely the highlight of the routine is how she punctuated it with a beautiful dismount. Little misses on the handstands. You really want to see those pirouettes end up in handstand.
I love this story about her. She was a walk-on last year, then she got mono. But she's really blossoming now. She was so frustrated from last year that she was doing full routines in July just to get ready for the season.
That's great.
Bridget Sloan now had a 9.925 bars in her opening rotation. Elena Johnson, 9.775 for her ball.
Very few athletes as tough as this young lady in competition. She knows how to just focus, zero in on exactly what she wants to accomplish. I mean, this was cleaner form throughout than she did in the warm-ups, and the landing's impeccable.
Kelsey Kopec, a 9.825. She's a redshirt freshman. That's a career high score for her. Megan Walker, a junior out of Pennsylvania, will be next on the bars. She's really been working hard to try to break into the all-around. She's known as a very technical gymnast. She's trying to add a little more power. She's capable of big scores, 9.95 even, on events like uneven bars and beam.
Absolutely. Leg separation, a little bit off on the handstand.
Oh!
That didn't look right on,
No.
on the swing, going into it. Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, something didn't look right here is a very, very low release move and just way off on the
It's like she hit it on her wrist and then it bounced over her fingertips, unfortunately. fall, of course, is a half a point deduction. Remember, 6 athletes, just the top 5 scores count towards a team total. So if you have 1 mistake, it's okay, but 2 mistakes or 2 different routines that have mistakes in them could be disastrous to a team score.
It's too bad. A little bit more difficulty in this routine, which would have gone toward a higher score and a great dismount. It's unfortunate she had the fall and the missed element.
That'll put a little extra pressure on their final performer, Caitlin Atkinson. Bridget Sloan had a 9.95. That ties a career high for her. Final vaulter for Florida, Keitra Hunter.
And this could truly be a highlight of this competition. She does this 1.5 twist so well. Uncanny spatial awareness, but she was a little bit short on that one. Didn't quite have the rotation. She's not happy. Did a beautiful one in warm-ups, but she managed to get it around to her feet. She was definitely short of the rotation. Really thinking about stick, I think,
such a terrific athlete. A lot of athletes might have sat that down.
Absolutely.
She was so under-rotated, but she has such great air sense. She was able to get her feet underneath her. So she won't be happy with that score, but the score is quite solid for Florida on the vault. Caitlin Atkinson will be the final gymnast for Auburn on the bars.
And Caitlin has tweaked this routine, changed some elements, took a pack salto out, put it in overshoot. We'll see how it works as a routine. Keep in mind, their associate head coach is a high-rated judge, really has a good eye, help them clean up routines, minimize those deductions, but also help design routines that will maximize their score potential.
Atkinson in 2013, NCAA All-American on vault. She was the first All-American for Auburn since 2008 when Julie Dwyer did it.
Nice technique. I love how she squeezes the legs together. Really no leg separation. Nice reverse heft. A little short on that cast to handstand, just a little tentative. Beautiful, gorgeous dismount. Look at
She's so aggressive on those
Very
giants.
aggressive, but what I really like is the tightness in her tuck and the pointed toes and the position she shows, even in slow motion. A judge would be very hard-pressed to find a deduction in that dismount.
Great job for the Tigers on the bars. When we come back, we'll update the scores at the halfway point here at Auburn. And welcome back to beautiful Auburn, Alabama. Boy, here they love their Tigers and they love their sports. Back inside the Auburn Arena, great night of gymnastics here. In the second rotation, Florida 49.375 on the vault. They outscored Auburn in this rotation by a half a point. Auburn had a 48.875. So here at the halfway point, here are the team standings. The reigning NCAA champs by .225 have regained the lead over the Auburn Tigers. Kathy, let's take a look back to last year's thrilling finish of the NCAA season. Of course, we said all year long that University of Florida was a hands-down favorite to win, but they came up with an improbable victory after a disastrous opening rotation, didn't
Wow, they counted a fall. First event out of the blocks, and they fall on balance beam, counting that fall. I was one of the ones in the arena thinking, there's no way. I don't see how you come back from this.
We talked to head coach Rhonda Fain about what she did in the locker room to motivate her team to make that comeback.
And I had everyone's attention, and I said, listen, we won yesterday by almost a point, and we didn't have our best floor day. So we can still kind of fall and win, and we're still going to do this. And they were like, oh, yeah. And so then we went into the locker room, and I really haven't shared this with anyone except for some boosters. I actually got out my glitter spray, and I was running all throughout the locker room spraying everyone with my glitter spray, and really I think it might have lightened the mood, and they were all kind of running around and being goofy, so I think that was key for them to not really be concerned and get down on themselves and to just kind of throw it away and come out fresh and lights out, and they did exactly that. So I don't know if it's a glitter spray or not, but I'm going to say it is.
And what a thrilling victory for the Florida Gators over the 32 years of the championships. Georgia Gym Dogs have won it 10 times, Utah 9, Alabama 6, UCLA 6, and Florida finally, after struggling with high expectations for 4 years previous, they got that victory. I don't know how many Division I coaches will admit that they use glitter spray as a key to a victory.
I can guarantee they're all going out and finding that glitter spray. They're going to have it in their bag just in case.
All right, well, Auburn moves to the balance beam in the next rotation.
Lexus Demers.
She was dinged up a little bit last year, but here's an interesting story about her. Here's a young lady who, except for 6 months of her life, she's always been coached by a Greba. Jeff coached her, and then his wife Bridget coached her, and his brother, twin brother, Jess coached her as well. So he's very proud that even by the time she went to college, she still liked him enough to be coached by him here.
And they each had some funny stories to tell about each other in that relationship. Very special.
Said
nice
she
to
loves
see.
to perform and really try to bring the crowd into it.
It's good to see hard work pay off and the determination she felt to make it happen. As she said, I came to college to compete. I want to be in the lineup. She did not like being the alternate. She was happy to play that role because that's what they do. Oh, she saved it.
Score, by the way, for Caryn Kadous in the lead-up role, lead-off performance, 9.825. Great start.
Double twist dismount, step on the landing. Unfortunately, had that bobble in the middle of the routine. She did save it though. Side aerial. Nice to have strong toes in gymnastics. You got to grab with all your worth sometimes to pull your center of gravity back over the balance beam. And she did just that.
Back to the floor now. Silvio Calusi Palayas. 9.125 was the score for the leadoff performer, Claire Boyce. I have to say, Florida in the one-touch warm-up was a little bit shaky.
Well, you can tell that they are following the philosophy of easing into the season, really being careful not to do too many landings on hard ground in the beginning of the season. You've got to protect the health of the athletes, and yet at the same time, it's the key to gymnastics, repetition to perfect these skills and landings.
Oh, beautiful. Here's a young lady who has dual citizenship with Spain. Her mother is from Spain. She grew up in Canada, but she's the only gymnast in the NCAA this year that competed in the World Gymnastics Championships last fall in Antwerp, Belgium.
And it's why we see this international style of gymnastics and in the choreography. I love it. It's nice to see that added element in collegiate gymnastics. Really struggled a little bit on that last pass. That's a conditioning thing. Legs kind of buckled.
Jay Rott.
Jay Rott now. Extremely powerful gymnast. Coach Greba did admit, he said, sometimes she's kind of a quirky kid, and we saw her have a balk on vault. Let's see if she can hold it together for her beam routine.
interesting, he described the entire team as a group of individuals that care so much about the team, about their gymnastics, about how they perform, and they want it so much that they really have to sort of monitor their expectations and help pace them. Get better a little at a time. Don't expect so much, because he doesn't want the disappointment to set in. He wants them to build their gymnastics and their confidence. So far, I think this competition actually is a success.
I agree. You know, they have been relegated to sort of Tier 2 in the SEC for several years, but they have all the makings of being a Tier 1 program. The quality coaching, the great fan base, terrific recruiting led by Kurt Hettinger. I mean, I think they have all the makings of being a top national team.
And it starts by they're willing to throw difficulty, and they're going to work on it and try to get it in their routines to go for the big scores. Much better so far on the balance beam than their first competition out, so good concentration as she goes into this acro skill. Broke at the hips, that'll be a deduction.
Scores to this point on beam. Caryn Kadous had the 9.825 in the leadoff row. Lexus Demers a 9.7. Back to floor now. The scores over there so far. 9.125 for Boyce. Sylvia Calusas Elias had a 9.725 in her first appearance on the floor for the Gators. This is Rachel Spicer. They call her Spicy.
She's going to open with a piked full end. She's just gotten it back into her routine. Very nicely done. Landed with her feet a little bit staggered. Kind of protects the ankle a little bit. To see Rachel really step up last year when Randy Stegerberg went out with an injury, and she came in and led off on 2 events. Finishing strong here at the floor, pike double back. Landing was a little bit off, but again, early in the season, not bad.
All right, halfway through the third rotation. More exciting gymnastics coming up. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Welcome back to Auburn, Alabama. The Tigers on the beam, which brings up Bri Guy. Just before the break, the score for MJ Rott, a 9.675. So clutch performance is needed for the Tigers on beam for the next 3 performers.
I like that mount combination following the mount.
This event was the trouble spot in the opening competition against Texas Women's University last week.
Even with the few little balance breaks we're seeing, it's a much better team performance thus far on this event. One thing they can learn to do is to not second guess a landing, but to really attack the landing. Don't see if you're going to make it, but go after it. There you go. Tuck double back. Nice difficulty.
That's what Coach Graba said. He said, we can't beat Florida if we don't do our job. So he's really focused on keeping these young ladies in the bubble. Bridget Sloan now. Score for Rachel Spicer, 9.75. So
as technically precise as Bridget Sloan is, she's equally performance-minded. She knows how to get the audience attention, really perform big. She's used to being on the world stage, up on a podium, so she can really put it out there. Beautiful. Nicely done, especially early in the season when you're still working on the condition to do a full floor routine, not show yourself breathing hard before each tumbling pass. She did a nice job. Gorgeous execution.
You could just tell her experience that she really knows how to finesse a landing. Where a less experienced gymnast might take a little stutter step. She just finesses it. Beautiful. Megan Walker will be next up for Auburn on the beam. Bri Guy had a 9.75. So the score is actually for Auburn quite solid on the beam. The lowest score at this point is a 9.675. The high score 9.825.
This is a good test for her. She had to fall on the uneven bars. You want to see how the athlete comes back from that and attacks the next event. No hesitation. Talking to Jenny, and she said that one of the challenging things is teaching them to move on past. If you've made a mistake, it's not the end of the world. To move past it, get ready for the next event. Really love her lines on balance beam. Very pretty positions, nice. Her quick pace of the routine. Excellent job. That's got to feel good. Good for her.
That has great scoring potential too, doesn't it? Clean execution. Auburn has 5 very good routines on beam. In the clubhouse, 1 to go. Caitlin Atkinson will be the anchor.
Coaches have to be feeling really good about things. At this point in the competition, they're really surpassing what they did in the first meet.
Keitra Hunter will be up now. Bridget Sloan had a 9.9 for those finessed landings on her floor routine.
Explodes off the floor of the tumbling and then shows off the dance in between. double back. She's in great condition, really. I mean, to pop that off the floor, stay in an open tuck position.
And when everybody else looks like they're sucking wind at the end routine, she's smiling, isn't she?
Very dynamic routine. Look at that, just gorgeous. You could just see her twist that someday.
Keitra Hunter, very experienced now for Florida. The final performer now, Caitlin Atkinson. Megan Walker had a 9-9. Clean execution paid off. Atkinson is the anchor performer on beam.
Always look at a gymnast's face when they start a balance beam routine to see the relaxation or lack thereof. You can see them trying to compose themselves, get in a rhythm, steady their breathing, focus. A very difficult dismount. Pike double back, just a little bit short. Technically, she looked fine, just a little sluggish getting her arms up into it. That's all it was. Got to really push, get those arms up, and the round off.
Oh, that's unlucky because that could have been a big score. She seemed to have clean execution and very few bobbles throughout. So a missed opportunity for the Tigers with that anchor performance. Final floor routine. Bri Guy now. The score for Keitra Hunter, a 9-9. So there's two 9-9s for Florida on floor. Sloan and Hunter.
Best part of the routine, the landings on those tumbling classes. Very well done, especially the first pass where she was able to just dance out of it, not give up too much on the landing.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our third rotation. Gymnasts, please watch your final
Finished with a pike double back. This is probably the best landing of all three. Boom, right into the lens.
Nice job for Bri Guy for the Florida Gators. That completes the third of 4 rotations. When we come back, they move on to the beam. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Welcome back to Auburn, Alabama. Let's take a look at the scores after the third rotation. Auburn was on the beam. Had great scores until that unfortunate landing for Caitlin Atkinson, 48-8-5. Florida was strong on the floor, 2 9-9s by the back-to-back NCAA all-around champions, so they increased their lead by 0.3 points. So just over a half a point, the NCAA champions have the lead, but they have to go to the balance beam. And guess what? Last week, this young lady, Bridget Sloan, the NCAA all-around champ, had an uncharacteristic fall from beam. We talked with her about it.
Going back into the gym, I made sure, I texted Marvin, my old coach, and said, you know, I fell on my side aerial. What do I need to do? And he sent me a long list of corrections. And I went back into the gym, and I was able to put those corrections towards my side aerial. And, you know, I hit every single one in the gym. And it's just that confidence that, yes, you fell, but it's not the end of the world.
As a coach or a fan of gymnastics, this is exactly the type of athlete you love. Somebody who, the moment they make a mistake, realize it's not the end of the world, but you get back in the gym, figure out what went wrong, fix it, and go back out there the next time.
Elena Johnson will be up on being the second performer. First up was Rachel Spicer, had a 9.75.
They've reworked her beam routine, taken out some of the extreme arch positions to protect her back. This is new, aerial walkover into the back handspring instead of a back handspring layout. Dismount combination, aerial cartwheel, very smart. To dismount immediately after the aerial cartwheel, you get the element in there, goes into the full twist.
I think this is a good example of how they're just pacing the difficulty early in the season. Especially on some of the gymnasts, as you mentioned, who are slightly fragile. Kait Kluz had a 9.775. That's a career high for the sophomore. Brittany Webster up now.
The difficulty, they're keeping that as part of their plan. They feel they have to do the big skills. Get her arms up at all out of the back handspring into the tuck to her back.
And I love this story about her. Jeff Graba told her that when he got hired to coach here at Auburn, he was driving here and she was calling him on his cell phone saying, I want to come to Auburn. He said she was relentless.
And then he said he was glad she didn't know when to stop. He's happy to have her on the team. Unfortunately, she over-rotated the final pass and went out of bounds. That's a big deduction.
Elena Johnson had a 9.85. Claire Boyce now. We saw her stumble on the floor. Let's see what she can do on the beam. Here's a gymnast that was out most of the last 2 years with 2 leg surgeries. Another gymnast, they have to be cautious with her for health reasons.
Boy, I love the attention to detail she shows. Goes high up on her toe. Beautiful toe point, nice flexibility, gorgeous turn. Oh, she didn't quite follow through and really finish it strong, but hopefully she gets credit for, it's a risky full turn. Everybody else will just do a simple full turn. She does it with the leg and attitude and back.
It's clear that she has a great foundation in gymnastics. Technically strong.
She's quite pretty on this event. Dismount off to the side, out of the cartwheel. I definitely prefer that in combination if you're going to do that dismount. It's really pretty out of the cartwheel. Here's that full turn. Nice position back. She just came out too early. I think there was a slight little moment of panic. Got to finish it before it's done. And you really have to ride it all the way around, spot the turn, and finish it.
Lexus Demers.
Lexus Demers, former Junior Olympic national floor champion. Brittany Webster, unfortunately, a 9.2 because of over-rotating that last tumbling pass. So the next 4 routines are critical for Auburn here.
This is an event where she can shine, loves to show off, loves to perform.
There was an inquiry on Brittany Webster's score. It's been changed to a 9.175.
Beautiful pike pull in, nicely done. I think her toes were even pointed throughout.
It's crisp.
Nice support from a teammate, doing a routine with her. Wow, she pulled that out. Kind of missed the timing of the punch in between the 2 somersaults. Very pretty in the air in the middle of her tumbling passes.
All right, halfway through the final rotation. This could be close. Don't go away. Welcome back to Auburn, Alabama. I'm Mark Connor along with Kathy Johnson-Clark. We're in the final performances in the final rotation. Keitra Hunter will go up for Florida on the beam. Claire Boyce with a 9.85 prior to her tied her career high.
That's how you attack a landing.
So nice to have that power.
It really truly begins with attitude on this event. An aggressive approach to attacking the landing, staying calm, yet aggressive, focused throughout. Keitra is such a good competitor. Nice difficulty throughout the routine. High tuck double back dismount. That feels good. Well, she really took control of this routine from start to finish. Took it all the way to the end.
MJ Rott, the freshman out of Stillwater, Minnesota. She's a fan favorite, including the guys known as the Gymnasties. Those are primarily engineering students who gave her the nickname of Murder, She Wrote, because she kills it. I wonder if anybody on this team knows who Angela Lansbury is. power to spare.
Very dynamic routine. And the cleanest thus far for Auburn. Very well done.
Killed it, according to the Gymnastics. Now she's fun.
Yeah, this should score well. Huge double layout. Right at the top. Final pass was a pike double back. She buckled just ever so slightly with her knees on the landing. And stood up very quickly. Very expressive dance as well. I enjoyed it.
Bridget Sloan now on beam for Florida. 9.85 was the score for Keitra Hunter. The final two performers for Florida are Sloan and Mako Kwato. Florida solid here so far. 3 scores of 9.85 and 1.97.
Watch how quickly she moves through this routine. So solid, so confident.
Keep in mind, she fell on beam last week against UCLA.
Nice skill, very risky. Just ever so shaky on the landing, not too bad though. She really wanted to put that back in her routine, starting to bring back some of her elite skills. What she brings to this event is just a picture-perfect presentation at times. The poses, and she holds them to really show off the position. Photographer's dream, though. You get some nice shots. There's that aerial cartwheel. That put a smile on her face. Well, she is so mentally tough. I had no doubt she would really come back and attack that. Not going to make that mistake again. Finishes strong with a tight double twist. Very few deductions in that routine.
Coach Fain says sometimes when she gets angry with herself, she actually calls up even a better performance. She was angry after last week, and boy, did she deliver here.
Really only a couple little balance checks in that routine for this time of the season in particular, and now coming off the fall, and that was gorgeous. I mean, she really took all those corrections from her former coach.
Marvin Sharp.
And did lots of repetition in the gym this past week. Nailed it.
Caitlin Atkinson.
Back to floor now, Caitlin Atkinson. We'll see how she recovers from that misfortunate dismount on beam. MJ Rott had a 9.8 before her. That's the high score for the Tigers so far on floor. We have 2 really powerful tumblers coming up, in Atkinson and Bri Guy.
Wow, there's a landing for you. She's a nice combination of power and technique. Nice bookends to this routine. The best parts, the first and final tumbling run. Definitely the highlights of the routine. The middle pass could have been better, but a good solid performance.
A shout for the sophomore from Houston, Texas, who says her dream job someday is to own her own gym.
Really nice position in the air. Tight legs, pointed toes. Beautifully done.
Final performer now for Florida, Mako Kokwato. 9.925 the score for Bridget Sloan. Boy, did she come back after that disappointment from last week.
Nice shot of the determination on her face to not give up more than she had to on that full turn. A little bit of a balance check there, but nothing big. Very nice skills in this routine. Good presentation. Changed the dismount to really protect the ankle. She used to do a round of double twist. Now she's doing this combination out of the jump into gainer layout full, an easier dismount, but in this instance, it's a smart choice. Really want to protect this athlete. You want to keep her in the lineup in all the events that she can compete and contribute so significantly. So
yeah, they really need her this year.
Absolutely. So taking that dismount out, changing into this one was a smart idea.
Bri Guy will be the final performer for the Auburn Tigers, and this is always a highlight. Caitlin Atkinson tied her season high with a 9.875 in her floor routine.
A new pass for her here, really trying to minimize the deduction. She did a more difficult, bigger middle pass, but would always take a step and take the deduction. Definitely best in flight. She shows very good position in her split jumps and everything off the floor. Very explosive. And she changed the last pass to a tuck double back, something she always hated. Wanted to do a pike double back, but it's like, no, do what you're going to do well with no deductions.
Coach Graba told us before the meet that she's a goofball, but she's quite intense as well.
An intense goofball.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes tonight's competition. Let's have a big round of applause for all of tonight's competitors.
All right, that wraps up tonight's competition. Auburn and Florida both pleased with their performances. When we come back, we'll give you the final results. It was a great night of SEC gymnastics. Florida on the balance beam, capped off by a 9.95 for Mako Kokwato, 49.425, an impressive score there. And Auburn was on the floor. 9.9 was the score for Bri Guy, their anchor performer, 49.075. So the overall team score of this event tonight, the reigning national champions, Florida Gators, 197.075. The Auburn Tigers, 196.225. Without a question, the outstanding individual athlete of the competition was the all-around winner, Bridget Sloan. Came back from a slightly disappointing opener against UCLA last week, and she was impressive all around tonight to lead the Gators to the win. Kathy Johnson-Clark is with the winning coach, Rhonda Fay.
So, Rhonda, when I walked up to you, I could already see the wheels turning in your head. Second meet of the season, though. What's your assessment?
It was definitely an improvement from last week at UCLA. And obviously, there's still areas that we're going to need to work on, landings and execution. But that's what's going to happen. It's the second meet of the year. I was so thrilled with how they performed on beam to finish up. I think the little areas we really need to still work on is the amplitude on some of our tumbling and our vaults. I thought our bars were really good. We had to work for those scores, but we're excited to get home next week.
Great job.
Thank you.
Good luck with the rest of the season. Keep them healthy.
Thanks, Kathy.
And for your all-around results.
Thanks for joining us for a great night of gymnastics here on ESPN. For Kathy Johnson-Clark, I'm Bart Connor. So long from Auburn University. Once again, our final score, Florida 197.075, Auburn 196.